Semifinals. This is going to be a great day. We've got both semifinals tonight, 2 best-of-7s, as we did have some rescheduling because of IEM. And Sojung is here to translate our opening message.
And we are ready to go ahead with our first match, and we're going to be talking to our first player. This guy has a strong heart and a really good physical. It is Maru from Junior Green Wings.
안녕하세요. 조성주 선수를 맞서는 두 번째 선수입니다.
And we're going to meet the next player, the opponent. He has a long experience.
이 자리까지 올라온 저력의 선수입니다.
He's the powerful Protoss.
이번 시즌에는 말끔히 씻어버리길
He
기대해보겠습니다.
hasn't won any tournaments yet. It is KT Rollsters.
김대엽 선수를 소개합니다. 안녕하세요. 좀 더 가까이 와주시겠어요? 좀 더 가까이 와주세요. 네, 경기에 앞서 두 선수와 가볍게 인터뷰를
before we go into the match tonight, we're going to be having a light
안녕하세요.
interview with Maru and Stats.
대기실에서 약간 피곤한
Maru
얼굴이
kind of seemed
있던데
tired
어때요? 어제
back at the waiting room,
하셨나요?
and Hyungyung is trying to ask if Maru practiced. And Maru says he kind of slept early last night, but he's still tired.
피로가 안 풀린 이유 중에 하나가 요즘 경기가 뜻대로 잘 안 풀리시잖아요.
And Hyungyung is asking why, because he has been doing well. And Maru says after he dropped out of GSL, his mental just went out of his place. So he wanted to win tonight, so he practiced a lot. So he's really still tired.
불안한 모습을 보였지만 또 그 위기가 오늘
Maru's TVP hasn't been really good recently, but I think tonight will be the day to show that he has a really good PvP. And we heard that Maru practiced a lot, and let's see if he can reveal one of his strategies. Or is that a secret? He says it's just a really simple one, ordinary one.
그러면 김대엽 선수를 정말 연구를 많이 하셨을 것 같아요.
I think Maru must have studied stats really well.
사실 알고 계시나요?
Hyungyung is trying to ask Maru if he knows any downsides of stats plays, and he says no.
어떡해요? 이겨야 되는데.
He says he's gonna try to watch out for the weird builds.
그냥 해도 이길 것 같다.
He's just gonna do it. Nothing special. Maru says Protoss has a lot to build, so even if you study it, I just get a headache. So I'm just gonna try to watch out for the weird builds. Just do my thing.
네, 알겠습니다. 자, 이번 경기에서 승리를 하면 기다리고 기다리시던
Well,
대망의
if Maru
결승전이에요.
wins, he's gonna get to the finals as expected.
맞붙고 싶다는 뜻을 내비치셨는데.
And Maru mentioned that he wants to go against Life, and she's asking if he still wants to go against Life. Maru says it doesn't really matter if I just make it to the finals. I'm just gonna do it.
자, 그럼 오늘 4강전을 치를 각오한 말씀 패기 넘치게.
Let's see how it feels right now before going into the match. I prepared really well tonight, so I'll try to win.
네. 자, 안녕하세요, 김대엽 선수.
And now we're going to talk to Stats.
김대엽 선수는 오늘 이 자리가 참 뜻깊으실 것
Well,
같아요.
it's a meaningful day for Stats
tonight.
It took him 7 years to get to around the 4 semifinals.
이번 스타리그 시즌 1이 주마등처럼 스쳐 지나가실 것 같아요.
And I think he'll be able to picture all his past matches standing right here. And let's see if he has any memorable matches from Starleague this season. He says his matches against Rogue, a round of 8, is the most memorable one.
오늘 그 꿈에 그리던 4강 진출을 성공하셨고 또 오늘 4강전을
And Stats just succeeded in going into semifinals.
선수는 아까 그냥 해도
And Maru said he's just gonna do it and he's gonna be able to win. You know, he kind of trash talked Stats.
상당히 좋으시잖아요, 요즘.
But you know, Stats has been doing really well.
성주가 요즘에 기세가 좀 많이.
And Stats is mentioning that Maru isn't doing really well these days.
네, 지금 저한테는 굉장히 좀
he's going the downside.
작용하는 것
And
같아요.
and he says it worked out well for him. And I'm on a really high roller coaster right now. And I'm gonna win tonight and go to the finals.
그 기세를 뒷받침할 전략들은
And Hyungyung is asking about the strategies again. The Stats.
전략 많이 준비했죠.
He says he's prepared a lot of strategies, but he can't reveal them here in detail. but he will try to show with the matches, the games.
오늘 4강에 진출한 KT 선수가 2명이나 있어요. 그렇죠?
And there's 2 KT Rolster players in semifinals. You know, it's Life and Stats.
전태양 선수도 와주셨잖아요.
And TY from KT Rolster is here tonight to support Stats and Life.
응원해주시는 팬들 그리고 응원해주시는 팀원들께
And let's see if he has anything to say for his fans and teammates.
네, 저 열심히 이렇게 응원해 주셔서 정말
Well, thank you. I really want to thank everyone for cheering for me, supporting me, and because of you guys, it took me 7 years, but I'm still here. I'm here at the semifinals.
거기에 팬들의 응원과 그리고 팀원들도 이렇게 자기
It's all because
연습처럼
of you guys,
제
fans,
연습 도와주고
and
그래서
teammates helping me
지금 이 자리에
practice.
있는 것 같은데 네, 팬분들 그리고 팀원들 정말 고맙다고
And
말하고
he's just
싶어요.
saying, mentioning his
응원에
teammates again,
보답할 수
thanking them.
있도록 오늘 경기 최선을 다해서 치러주시길 부탁드립니다.
네, 감사합니다.
네, 양 선수 모두
Well, we've
자신감
talked
넘치는
to
모습을
Maru and
보니까 오늘
Stats
경기가
right before
더욱더
the match.
기대되는데요. 네, 그럼 긴 말 필요 없이
And
네이버
I
스타리그
think the interview is
2015
over.
시즌
This was
4강전
Hangyang and
첫 번째
Sojang.
경기를 바로 시작해 보도록 하겠습니다.
Thank you so much for that translation. As always, Sojung, I am getting pretty hyped, Moonglade. This match is going to be awesome. This is just the first best of 7. We're going to jump to a highlight reel, so check this out.
완벽한 반짝이 자, 일구도 들어와야죠. 그냥 전투. 이거 막히면 끝나요. 게임 끝납니다. 전투 마지막. 한거 사람 감장 뒤에 한거 왔어요. 방패 단단함도 너무 대단합니다. 완벽한 김대우의 방패. 누가 스타리그에 탈락을 듯합니다. 이병렬 들어갈 또 못하고 연맹도 못하고 앞전 발전을 자축하는 앞전면입니다. 데뷔 8년 만에 세계 처음 사강
It's really time now, ladies and gentlemen, for this first best of 7. Stats versus Maru. Maru versus Stats. This is going to be a sick matchup. I feel like both these players have so much to prove, Moonglade.
Yes, they do. It's going to be a very interesting one because in recent times, both players have had a couple of downs, a couple of upsets in their tournaments. We can go into a little bit more detail when we actually get to the players. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting where they land. Obviously, that interview doesn't really give you too much away because obviously players aren't going to talk about their strategies at the start of the match and exactly what they're going to do, like the interviewer asked, which is I always find kind of strange and pointless because I don't think they're going to be I'm going to be forgetting the first 2 games, and from there I plan to have a macro game. It's like, well, if he says that in front of Maru, Maru's just going to win these games. So I don't know. But
or he's a liar.
Or he's a liar. You could also play it that way, but then it gets a little bit mind gamey to a point where you just don't want it to be, I think.
No, definitely not.
But it's interesting to see where it is, and obviously Maru looking a little bit tired, and I'm kind of worried about him specifically coming into this match because he seems like he's struggling right now in this matchup.
Sure, and that's exactly what I wanted to talk about because we saw the very first question that Hyung asked was, you looked really tired earlier when you were getting your makeup on, when you were getting ready for these matches. You must have been up all night practicing, whereas Stats seems to be a little bit more with it today. And I feel like Stats is almost like he's the underdog, but he kind of has this like weird feeling of like favoritism just because everyone's cheering for him because it's his first round of 4. It's the first time in his entire career in like 7 years that this guy's ever been able to make it this far. And so that makes this a great story, right? But for Maru, on the other hand, he already dropped out of the GSL. So for him, this is a really stressful moment where he really has to focus on this tournament specifically. And if he fails here, too, then he gets neither of the finals. And he wants to prove that he's still, the top Terran in the world.
Yeah, it's actually really surprising that Stats hasn't made it to a top 4 before this because he is such a powerful Protoss, and he has been one of the top Protoss in Korea for, like over a year at this point. Like last year, he was doing fantastically as well. He's always been that guy, like in the background, like just waiting to find a big win, and this could be it today.
Yeah, this absolutely could be, his breakout moment to actually make it to not only just the round of 4, but to the finals. I think that this is definitely a great opportunity for him. I feel like the map pool really that we have right now is kind of why Stats is doing well. I feel like his style really does well in this sort of map pool. And I feel like he's really developed himself over time, finally, with these KT players he can practice with in StarCraft 2. And I feel like he's kind of just broken through some sort of weird nerve issues he might have had. We saw him do pretty well in the Kespa Cup as well as the WCG qualifiers that we had a little bit earlier. So that's kind of when he started to do a little bit more consistently well. Don't forget, guys, later on, we're going to have Life versus Dream, which is going to be an epic matchup as well. So we've got 2 best-of-7s in one night.
What a long day it's going to be. What a long night. We're not getting out of here till 1 or 2 a.m., I think, if everything goes right and we get to the longer sort of games. I think both of these matches could go the distance as well.
They absolutely could, Moonglade. This really could be a very long night, but that makes it kind of exciting in itself because the longer the matches go, the more exhausted these players may become. For example, Life and Dream, who don't get to play until later, don't even get to start until late.
Yeah, it could be a bit of a problem for these guys, but we'll see. Here is Maru.
All smiles right now.
Yeah, he's feeling good. We can go back into his stats now. This is something I wanted to talk about. He's not having the best run, especially against Protosses. He got knocked out of GSL to Hero and Parting. He lost his last Pro League match to Deer. He seems to be really struggling at this point, which is the biggest worry, obviously, coming into a round of 4 in a best-of-7 against a Protoss. I wonder, has he actually fixed these problems in this time that he's had to practice, or are we going to see more of the same?
That's a really good question. You know, he did look really on top of form in this tournament, though. Look, he beat TY 2-0, he beat Dart 2-0, and then he beat Leonok 3-0, so he was really on a roll. A pretty sick win streak to make it all the way here. So this tournament, definitely a tournament he's doing well in, but like you said, a different matchup. And this is going to be a big challenge for him, especially when Stats is in such good form right now.
Yeah, Stats, he is looking fantastic, but he isn't without a couple of faults of his own. For instance, yesterday he got knocked out of the GSL qualifiers. The qualifiers, he wasn't even in the Codas like Maru was, and he lost to Hyun and Shine. Granted, they are Zergs, they aren't Terran, which is, I guess, the redeeming factor, but still, these are players that should be below him at this point, going into a round of 4 of Starleague. And besides that, I mean, he got knocked out of the IM World Championship by Bunny and Trap, and he's been suffering a lot of qualifier losses in recent times, but he's still doing fantastically in Pro League.
Yeah. And, what's interesting is, losing to 2 Zergs in the Code qualifier yesterday, look at that, and I think, well, maybe he's been focused on this matchup for a while. He's been really focusing on Terran. He got a bit unlucky in his qualifier draws, got 2 Zergs, and qualifiers are a totally different beast than a best-of-7 like this. And he did, of course, advance over Rogue 3-0 in the round of 8, which impressed a lot of people, surprised a lot of people. He did very well in that matchup. The rest of his matchups, though, were very close, 3-2, 2-1, and 2-1, so he's had a tough tournament run. He's, barely sneaked by in almost all of his rounds except the round of 8.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can never really forget that he did go through innovation to get here. He did go the distance 3-2, but he still managed to beat that guy, and that guy is on top of the world right now as Terran.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like Maru wants to prove that he's actually just as good as innovation. I feel like that's what this tournament is for him, to try to prove. So just taking a little bit of a closer look at some of these stats. You can look at the match and the set ratios, but they don't really mean that much because this is not all of their stats. But what's really cool to me is the playtime per set and the playtime per wins. They're actually kind of medium-length games. Stats game's a little bit shorter than Maru's.
Kind of interesting like that. I always look at stats, especially in this matchup, and I'm kind of like, well, he's really good at the late game in PvT. It's something I just remember from this guy more than anything else. Like, he's not the all-in kind of Protoss that you see from, like, Parting. He's like this guy that will go the distance, more like Hero, I guess, where he wants to get to the 3-base, 4-base, late game, get that late game composition, and just play it from there, and play it so well.
Yeah, he will every now and then throw like an Immortal all-in into a PvZ. I feel like a lot of the reason why we see some of these the wins for stats, the playtime a little bit shorter than you might expect, is I think he gets all-in a lot. Like, people try to kill him with all-ins and he defends. Like, we sometimes see SCV pulls against this guy and he just defends it and wins. Or, we see some sort of Zerg timing attack against him, he holds it and he wins. And those shorter games kind of bring the win percent playtime a little bit down from what you might expect, like in 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, I mean, that could also speak a lot about he does like the late game, so they try and stop him from getting there a lot of the time.
Yeah. Okay, so these are recent 10 games, it looks like, for Maru. You can see the games he's played recently. I'm guessing the blue is losses he's taken and the red is wins?
Yeah.
Or no, maybe it's the other way because he lost to Parting and Hero, right, in the GSL?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Still,
so those are the recent 10 games versus Protoss that we've got here.
Okay.
And so he's gotten some recent wins over Deer, Parting, and Hero. But, of course, in the GSL group, he wasn't quite able to get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty much what we've been talking about, the recent sort of stats. He hasn't been doing well against Protoss, which is really the thing you want to take away from this. He seems to be really struggling, and it's really recent sort of results as well. So you wonder, has he fixed it in like the only like couple of days he's had to really practice hard for this match, or is it going to still be the struggle that he's been having?
Yeah. To be honest, guys, I don't know exactly what these bars mean. Like, at first I was like, well, he lost maybe 4-0 to Parting, and I'm like, wait, no, like that's not even 4 bars, that's 5 bars. Like, we don't do best of 9.
Well,
in
I mean,
this game.
Unfortunately, here at Spoke TV, we don't actually get told anything.
sometimes we have these graphics. I mean, some graphics are so self-explanatory it'd be insulting to explain them to us, but this one I'm just not sure. But anyways, I think it might be like the way in which he lost. Maybe like he got crushed in those games. Maybe that's what it means.
It's like 5 bars. It means you got smashed badly. And here's Stats. But Stats is, he's been doing a lot better. So I wonder, the Reds maybe are him winning convincingly. Obviously, he did beat Hero. He did beat Classic.
He beat Rogue 3-0.
You think he beat Life in a Pro League match?
Yeah. And then
Rogue is like obviously the 3-0.
Yeah.
And then Sora.
Sora might have been like a qualifier.
It was a Pro League match, actually.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was on Tuesday.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So, okay. It's like the level of destruction, I think.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay. Interesting way to put it. I'm glad we figured it out before they were off the screen. I still don't know about if I really rate them there.
Yeah, I don't know if this seems to be like a bit vague, but anyways. Oh, so the bit larger the bars is actually like the value of the player that you beat, like the player's tier. I think that someone needs to have a talk with that graphics guy, because that was really confusing.
We're gonna have to sit them down, Wolf, because man, that was a useless graph after all.
So let's take a look at this one, see if we can figure this one out, Moonglade. All right, so win rate versus race. Okay, here for Maru, he has a 51%. Those are how many times he's won recently. Versus, okay, how many players he's played against recently. So he's played a lot of Protosses, but his win ratio versus Protoss is down at 55%. And that's not just including like his most recent Protoss results, which have been quite weak.
Yeah. It definitely hurt that percentage by a long shot, that's for sure, making it his weakest sort of win rate out of all 3. TVT actually 70%. That's really impressive.
Yeah, that's quite nice. And, versus Protoss, 11-9 versus some of the best players in the world isn't terrible, but it's again more about the more recent results we've had, which you might see a graphic of. I'm not exactly sure if we will or not, though. I guess we're going to take a look at stats here now. And his record versus Terran is 5-3, which is impressive, but it's not as big of a sample size as Maru's. He had like 20 different games we're looking at. This is just 8 different games we're looking at.
See, we don't get that much exposure from stats, which is one of the problems, because obviously he isn't in GSL. He has made it this far in SSL, but we didn't actually get to see him against Terran except for that round of 32. So he has kind of been sitting there just practicing, powering up. He plays the occasional Pro League and does well, but we don't get that much of a sample size.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the graph of how many times he plays Terran versus the other races, he only plays Terran a little bit more often than he ends up playing against Protoss, but a lot more often than he plays against Zergs, for example, so experience-wise. But this is only 20 games to look up in total, whereas like Maru's stats versus Protoss were 20 games on their own.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the map list here and these players' record. A very impressive record for Overgrowth and Foxtrot Labs for stats, 5-0 on both maps.
Yeah, that is absolutely huge, and it's very interesting. This is pretty much telling the story of what's going to happen. Starting off with Nimbus, advantage Maru. Then Overgrowth, okay, more of an even map. Then Catalina, advantage Maru once again. King Sejong Station, probably more in favor of stats, I'd have to say. It really suits his playstyle. Yeah. Deadwing, bigger map, obviously spawns are a bit of a factor in that one. Same with the Foxtrot Labs, and then King Sejong Station again to finish it up.
Yeah. Yeah, Stats will be very happy there's no Nimbus in there.
Yeah, you don't want a second Nimbus. That would be the nightmare.
Oh, we do have Nimbus in here, actually.
Oh, yeah, the first map.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, I thought I was going to repeat again at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then I said there's no Nimbus, but I threw myself off. All right. I'm sorry, everybody. Game number 1, though, is going to be on Nimbus. It's starting right now, ladies and gentlemen. Maru versus Stats here in the semifinals of the Neighbor Star League. I'm Wolf. With me is Moonglade. And let's get into this game.
And to the bottom left, we do have Maru.
Yeah. Jin Air Green Wings Terran. Wants to prove he's just as good as Innovation. He's a top-tier Terran. Win all that prize money, get to that finals. His opponent to the bottom right in blue for KT Rolster is Stats. And we are going to be at horizontal spawns at the bottom of the map here to start things off.
And I would have to say it's definitely a favored sort of positioning spawning point for Maru. I mean, he's going to have that direct flight path straight from his main to the natural, pocket natural of Stats. So it's going to make these kind of like early game harassment, the mine drop, the bio drops, a lot easier. And obviously this map is also pretty Terran favored because of that reason alone. But also the third base is pretty exposed. It really leaves itself open to a lot of harassment, a lot of early sort of timing attacks from the Terran.
Yeah, we had a lot of probes queued up there for Stats, so very likely going to be a Nexus first here. Oh, okay, not as many as I thought, though. Could still go for it.
I think he will be, considering he is up to 250. Yeah, could take a little bit of damage here, because we are seeing Maru open up with a sort of standard sort of Rax refinery. Probably going for that Reaper. Yeah. And the Reaper gets a good scout off, and it could be a lot of trouble. Yeah,
Reaper actually, Reaper-oriented openings can do so much damage versus a Nexus first as well, because you have a late Mothership core, you have late Stalker. He does send a scout out right away. He's going to actually check the Watchtower first. You know, another big problem build for this matchup when you're playing a Nexus first is also a 2 barracks proxy in the middle of the map, so wants to make sure that's not going on either. And we're going to see in just a moment here that Scout does actually luckily guess the correct location down here at the bottom left.
Yeah, Maru's going to be going the wrong way with his Reaper unless he fixes that as well. So it could actually mean safety for Stats and maybe a little less damage than he might have taken if this Reaper goes the right way. But this SCV might get there just in time to change the course.
Yeah, looks very likely. And, well, Nexus is going up, coming along here. Let's see if Maru decides to make a second Reaper.
I think he might. Unless he's going to actually reactor Marines from this. I think he actually might reactor Marines.
Yeah, I think that's the more common follow-up to this, because he doesn't know it's a Nexus first. Had he known that, he might have decided to do something different. The probe is actually going to come back in here to check this at a really nice timing. He's going to be able to see that reactor. Could probably just go confirm the CC if he wants to, because he can reasonably assume it's there, especially when he sees no SCVs in gas.
Oh, wow.
And the Reaper turns around.
I didn't know about this. I mean, I guess he wants to protect this SCV building this command center, but still, he's going to miss out on some potential damage at the main base. And he's actually, wow, slowing down this building of the CC.
Yeah, this probe did so much. I guess it wasn't so much about the scouting of the command center as much as the harassing of it. And now he's going to have a Stalker and a Mothership core on the way. The Reaper not able to do anything, and he still hasn't been able to identify what he's up against, so he's going to be very annoyed when he finds out. He does add a second CC right away, playing very greedy here.
Yeah, just playing more defensively with this Reaper. Bit of an unfortunate situation, but he's going to get the scout off with this SCV. You should have an idea of how everything is going now, but doesn't get to see too much.
Yeah. And especially if he clicked on that Mothership core and saw its energy, that SCV would have definitely known, like, okay, this is very late.
Kind of actually surprising that we see Maru play this greedy. I mean, the map is good for it, sure, but I kind of feel like also like some pretty aggressive play on this map is also not a bad idea, because you do have such drop potential on this map. Oh man, the second Reaper gets just as much scouting, so he doesn't know really what's going on, but it's safe to assume that it was a Nexus first.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way he didn't check at least the Mothership core's timing, and it seems like he has the feeling that it's a Nexus first based on his command center timing, I guess. Like you said, there's basically 2 different ways to deal with this. The aggression is one option, and the economic follow-up is the other way to deal with the Nexus first. So looks like we're going to have a little bit of Oracle harass, and we do have the robotics to follow this up.
Yeah, not a bad choice. Something we see from Stats, I think, more than anyone else consistently. He loves his Stargate openings, his harassment with Oracles. He is so damn good at it, so no reason not to. And he might be able to find some damage. There are a lot of Marines are coming out at this point. There's 6 Marines just waiting near the CCs.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty hard-pressed to find damage. Or does add just 1 engineering bay. He's not going full greedy with like a double E-bay with triple CCs, but he is getting that +1 attack pretty early. To help bolster his Marine force. And let's see if Stats makes a second Oracle. I don't know if he will.
It is pretty late. So maybe he'll go... Yeah, it looks like he's just going to go into Colossus from here, making that Robotics Bay. gear up for that bit of a delayed third base once he's got some Colossi on the way.
Scan goes down, revealing the Stargate tech, as well as that Bay. And he's totally prepared for this. And there's that vision that he got there of all three structures, the 2 gates and the Bay. And the Oracle is trying to pick off a Marine or 2 here. Not a bad trade, I mean, for a few shields and hit points. But no real damage, not what he would have wanted to get with a commitment of 300 gas.
At the very least, you get the scouting you need as well. Like, you kind of have an idea, okay, of exactly what he's going. It's like, okay, you've got 3 CC, you're making Marines now, you got 2 barracks pumping, you got Stim on the way. Like, he knows for sure what's going to be coming his way and when, just from this Oracle. And he still has it alive, so he can find damage, or he can simply, throw out the Envisions if he needs to.
Yeah. He can also continue to put on some sort of pressure that keeps Maru on the defensive while he takes this third Nexus that he's getting right now to the right side. So, if you look at his army, he's got basically nothing. He's got like 1 Zealot, 1 Stalker, 1 Sentry, 1 Oracle, but he's getting Colossi and Phoenixes right now while he takes the third Nexus, and this 1 Oracle is going to keep Maru a little bit at bay while he holds that Nexus and gets time to get those Colossi out and add a, slightly more bolstered Gateway army to help defend those units. The Phoenix choice, I think, might just be to deny drops. Like, I don't think he's going to go necessarily for a Phoenix Colossus build, but he is adding, a second one here.
Well, I mean, either way, it's going to be fantastic for dealing with those drops, and it's something we see a lot on this map as well, Phoenix Colossus, because the drops are just so dangerous on this map that you need sort of a hard counter for them. Otherwise, you are kind of guaranteed to take a lot of damage. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some cannons at the back of that Pocket Natural as well at some point soon. You just really need something there, otherwise the potential for damage is just always going to be relevant.
Nice little pick off here. Anything you can get is a small victory. Delays that supply depot. Kill an SCV. Observing we're seeing today is fantastic. I don't think he's missed a single thing.
Well, I haven't missed a single thing either. If you wanted to look my way, Wolf.
Yeah, you're on top of it, man.
I know everything, mate.
And, at this point, like, he's just gearing up to shut down drops. It looks like he even has an Observer here. The fact that he leaves the Observer there just leads me to believe he's a bit concerned about Widow Mines getting in there.
Oh, yeah.
So he can just go ahead and pick those up, because Phoenixes will pick those up and kill those very quickly and then finish off the drop. So if you run into that without any information there are Phoenixes there, you're just going to lose your drop in most cases.
Yeah, I mean, it is the most sort of obvious approach for Terrans on this map, so kind of the knowledge there. Maru's kind of playing around that. He's like, you know what, I'm just going to be incredibly greedy, go for this really powerful mid-game push, go for the Marine, go for the Bio, go for the Vikings and whatnot, and just be ready for whatever's going to come my way in the mid-game. I kind of like this style a lot more from Maru, because it's something we see a lot less of. Getting a Phoenix nice and early.
Yeah, almost 2 there. His stats just very unluckily missed that Bioforce. He was looking for it. He saw the Widow Mines, he saw the other Medivacs, but he didn't know where that army was, and it looks like he just wasn't looking when they got close to his Phoenixes there. Not the end of the world, but small victory here for Maru.
Yep. Pretty much the only aggression we've really seen this game. It's been a pretty passive game to open things up here.
Sure. +1 for Phoenixes, so I mean he's really committing to this. As well as the Colossi count is getting higher. Adding cannons now like you were talking about. The +1 armor nearly completed here on the Forge around the same time as Maru's armor finishes, so he's actually going to be a whole set of upgrades behind in attack. And Maru's going straight into double upgrades now at the same time. 2-2, that armor he just finished up. Nice timing there.
Yeah, and we're even seeing Protoss air weapons be upgraded for these Phoenix. Nice revelation on the Marines. I got the name right this time.
You did it.
I did it. Damn, that is like the hardest sort of skill I think in the game to remember. Envision or Revelation, both are so vague.
That is so hard, man.
It's ridiculous.
I get them mixed up all the time.
I like most people's approach of calling them tags.
Yeah, tag is a very good way to put this. Well, Maru has identified this as a Phoenix Colossus build. That's why we see those 4 turrets queued up here. And it looks like he's just going to turret push across the map. He's already gone into quadruple Viking production with a 3rd starport on the way to actually add additional Vikings and also to help continue to add Medivacs in when he needs them.
Yeah, and we've seen this a lot before from Maru. He does this so well, but he gave it away with that Revelation, unfortunately. And I think we might see stats move out and try and deal with it before the whole army kind of gets a foothold there. As we see the move.
Yeah, he would definitely like to do this, right? I mean, does not want to allow Maru to get into a great position with static defense. These turrets do so much damage to air. I mean, they fire so quickly. They have a high rate of attack as well.
Well, I mean, like once this foothold's there, you can't really use your Phoenix properly. and it gets very awkward, and now the Vikings can start poking at the Colossus. And what are they going to do? They can't commit to anything. There's so many turrets up already. We do see about 7 have finished at this point. Widow Mines are there too in case Phoenix want to try and fly in. And he's just going to keep creeping forward. I love this style from Maru.
Yeah, and he's also just going to continue to bring Widow Mines here, which do great damage to Phoenix's as well. And I don't know what the move here is for Stats. I mean, he can't break into those turrets.
He's going to have to bulldoze his way through it at some point or just give up a base. Like, there's only 2 options here.
Yeah.
And he's running out of time for one of them.
Absolutely. Oh, another few great volleys with those Vikings. And his Phoenix is essentially just useless. Finally, the Vikings overextended. He's able to pick one of them off, but he takes a loss as well. And Maru's just getting closer and closer. His Widowmine count is quite high, and he's now starting to add Ghosts into the mix as well to help deal with this High Templar, and also, you know, just blanketing this army with EMPs will make it so much weaker for all these Vikings. Turrets, for example.
I think he's waiting for the Storm to finish before he really wants to commit. It just finishes now, so he can get a good Storm off if he wants it. But the turrets are, like, essentially at his doorstep. But here we go. It looks like Stats might be trying for it.
Picks off a lot of that bio here. The Vikings still remain, though, and they're going to actually catch a Colossus here a little bit out of position on Rally. So that's a pretty big victory there. At this point, the 2 Ghosts are starting to join up. They're going to have some EMPs available. By the way, Maru now 2-2 versus just the +1 armor. And I think he just finished +1 attack, so it's 1-1 versus 2-2.
Yeah.
That's a whole set of upgrades, though, so that bio army is really strong.
Well, here we go with a quad drop into the pocket natural here. There's 5 cannons, but that's not going to be enough for this many Marauders.
No, it's not. And he's just going to go ahead through those cannons. Here comes this Protoss Force going back to this base, but it's a bit too slow. He's going to lose this Nexus. Meanwhile, a huge Zealot counterattack hitting Maru's base. He's going to have to respond to this. A lot of his bio, of course, is clumped up on the attack. He has to send a lot of that home. And this is actually going to kill quite a few of these add-ons, maybe even the factory there.
Yeah, it's going to do a bit of work. It's going to actually pull some of his forces back, but still he's got a lot camping these turrets as well as the Widow Mines. So it's going to be a costly engagement if Stats wants to try and clean this up.
This is a cool move, though. I like this. Draw the bio army home. This might be his best chance to slowly Storm push his way through these turrets and bring those Stalkers forward. This is very expensive what he's doing here, but he's finally breaking through this.
He's getting through it, that's for sure, but he's essentially lost all his Phoenix at this point. He has had to use a lot of Storm. He's got a few Templar left, though. Still, Maru's going to really need a lot of Ghosts and decent EMPs to kind of handle this army at this point.
Yep. These Vikings are such a big problem. He has so many Vikings. These Colossi are basically irrelevant. I mean, he has to get the Stalkers forward to push the Vikings away with some Storm support before the Colossi can even think about engaging. Otherwise, they're going to take so much damage. Meanwhile, a massive Zealot Warpman with that huge Marine bank that he's got coming up here. Going to catch reinforcements, going to catch some Ghosts even. That's expensive.
Yeah, that is very expensive. It's going to really force the army back once again. So Stats kind of getting some breathing room. And looks like he's going to make some use of it and actually try and push the issue here.
Yeah. And all these barracks are trying to be added here. Some of them actually losing their building SCVs. Quite a few workers going down there, in fact. And Stats has regained total control of his base. He's also taking now that 4th base, the top side of the map. Maru hasn't been able to secure anything close to that yet. In fact, I don't even think he has a 4th CC. I don't know if he ever plans on making one.
I don't think he did. I think he planned to end it at that 3rd base. But now, yeah, he's in a horrible position. He's down 20 supply. His composition is not nearly as strong, though. He's got a lot of Ghosts at this point. 9 Ghosts in the mix. If he gets the EMPs, it's good, but it's about getting them.
Yep, there's a lot of Archons in this army, so those EMPs are so key. Not only the Archons, but perhaps even more importantly, just the Storms themselves to be able to avoid those. Okay, here we go. Looks like Stats is going to engage this, and some of the bios out of position. All these Vikings not firing right now, and those Archons are exactly where they want to be, doing so much AoE damage. The Vikings not participating in this fight because the Archons are zoning them out.
There are so many perfect Storms. Yeah, those Vikings couldn't get anything done. They're all in red. The Storms are just dealing too much damage, and Maru's getting wiped out here.
Yeah, he certainly is. Looks like Stats is going to take game number 1. GG. Great game to start things off, and Stats wins on Nimbus.
Yeah, very unexpected win there, but you know, Maru, he had a really cool style going into this, but those the Warpins, the Zealot run-bys really tore him apart. He couldn't hold his ground at the turrets where his Widow Mines and turrets were, and he kind of just, from then onwards, just gave everything up. He just ran out of gas, essentially.
Yeah, if he had been able to deny those Zealot run-bys, for example, by identifying where the pylon was, killing that earlier, or even having maybe like a bunker or so set up, something like that, that might have made things easier for him, but that's really what gave Stats the opening. He committed a lot of resources to the turrets, too. How many turrets do you think he made there? Like 10 or 12? Like, that's a lot of money.
It would have to be around 12, I think, all up. I was counting until he got to the low ground. and he made like 3 or 4 more. So yeah, it was a big investment. Obviously, he didn't invest beyond that because he thought he could end the game right there. Such a big investment, but yeah, obviously losing that positioning and having no fourth CC, it was just a matter of time until Stats had enough to just deal with him.
Yeah. It was a really fun game to watch, though. We saw just very unique play.